Hi, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today I have some potentially big tips for you on how to save money when you're at the grocery store. Now, this is not your usual kind of stuff. This is, in a nutshell, watch the register. Watch the computer screen as items are being rung up, okay, when you're checking out at the register. Now, you're going to think I'm bashing cashiers. I absolutely am not. I truly believe that the majority, if not all the cashiers, are doing the very best that they can with the job that they have at hand. However, we are all human and mistakes can happen. Some of the mistakes are they're doing accidentally. Some of these mistakes are not. But I believe as consumers, after the experiences that I've had that I'm going to share with you, that the ultimate responsibility is our own, to be sure that things are being rung up appropriately and at the correct price. I have 4 tips. I'm going to work my way backwards because number 1 is the biggie that I would never have thought of until it happened to me, and I want to share these things with you. All right, number 4. Something that we've all seen happen. The scanner picks up something twice. You know, the cashier runs it over the scanner and you hear beep, beep. It rings twice instead of once. Usually they hear that. They'll deduct the extra charge for the extra item that's not there. But do pay attention for that because sometimes the cashiers don't catch that, especially if you're in a very big department store or a big grocery store and there's a lot of beeping going on with registers nearby. They may not catch it, so it's up to you to watch for that. Number 3, the wrong price rings up. Now, when we shop, we usually have a general idea as to what something is costing. We might watch the price on the shelves and pick something up because it's cheaper than something else. So we have a general idea in our head as to what something is going to cost. Watch the computer screen as they're rung up. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes the price will differ on the shelf than what it rings up through the register. Usually it's in the store's favor. This is not an intentional thing. Sometimes prices are changed in the office and they haven't been changed on the shelf yet. If you catch something like that, stop the cashier, ask him or her to check it out, and they will be glad to do that if you feel like something didn't ring up correctly. Number 2, a wrong item might be entered when you're doing some sort of a produce item. Now, we buy a lot of produce, so this is something that I definitely have to watch for. It happened to me the last time or 2 we were at the grocery store. Case in point, I bought a regular head of cabbage. Okay, so when it rang up, I saw that it rang up as an organic head of cabbage. The cashier did not catch that at all. A couple items went by and I stopped her and I said, "Excuse me, but I don't think that was an organic head of cabbage." She stopped and she checked and she says, "Oh, you're right." So she deducted that and reweighed the cabbage, and I saved about $2.50 right there by that one thing that I caught. That can add up quite a bit if the wrong numbers are entered. Oftentimes they will catch it. If they're not sure what something is, usually they will ask you. They're doing the best job that they can, but it's up to us as consumers to be the extra set of eyes for the cashier to watch for things like that. That one thing that I spotted right there saved me about $2.50. It was worth it. Now, number 1, this is the biggie that I never would have thought about until it happened to me, and it's made me very, very aware of things as they're being rung up. The scale at the register may be off. It may be out of calibration and need to be calibrated again. How do I know? Well, one day I decided I wanted to buy 1 Honeycrisp apple. I had never tasted a Honeycrisp apple before. They're expensive, and I thought, oh, you know, I don't really need these things, but I wanted to try one, so I bought one. And we always buy a lot of produce. We eat a lot of fresh vegetables, so a lot of our stuff has to be weighed. That particular day, I felt like the groceries added up to more than I thought they should have. Now, we live in a small town. To get to that particular grocery store was a half-hour drive, country driving, so 65 miles an hour most of the way there. So it's a lot of miles to get to the grocery store and back. So it's an hour's worth of driving to do this. When we got home, I checked the register receipt. Holy cow, that one apple cost us around $5. Now that didn't sound right. I looked at the weight on it, and it weighed up at being 3 pounds and something. I thought, what? It was an average, normal, medium-sized apple. It was not the size of cantaloupe. It was just an average size Honeycrisp apple. I have my own scale. I weighed it. It weighed nowhere near what it came out at the grocery store. So hence, it came up to being $5 or so. The cashier didn't catch it. I wasn't watching. And so hence we paid way too much for that apple. Well, again, we buy a lot of produce. So I tried to estimate how far everything was off, and it was somewhere between $10 and $20. Probably closer to 20 than 10 that day. I got on the phone and I called the grocery store in a polite way, and I said, something's wrong. We were charged way too much for some of our food, and we talked about it, and she says, oh, the scale needs to be calibrated. I'll run over there and stop her right away. And she told me, this is a major store that we all know about. I'm not going to name names. And she said that they calibrate the scales every 2 days. That alone tells me that the scales can get off very easily and very often. So this is something that we need to watch for routinely. One way to check is to, as you're buying something that needs to be weighed, use the scale that is usually available in the produce department and weigh something. Multiply out, even roughly in your head, as to what that item should cost. And when you get to the register, place it first and watch and see what it comes out to being weighed and how much you're charged for it. If it's about what you figured, everything's fine. If it's way off, oh my, you need to stop the process right then and there and tell the cashier that her scale is off and needs to be calibrated. That day that I was charged $5 and something for the Honeycrisp apple, we did not go back to the store because it would have involved an hour's worth of driving. I didn't really have the time, and it would have cost us money to do that, and the groceries had already been put away in my refrigerator, so we lost money that day. Now, another point to go along with this, I was so livid by the time I learned all that. For at least a month, I diligently watched the cash register computer screen as we were checking out. And in all but one trip to the store, I found errors. I found mistakes that were made and that were not caught, and that we would have had to pay for had I not stopped them right then and there. It's big. It's a big way to save yourself some money because the mistakes are usually in the store's favor. This is the way it works out. This is not a deliberate thing by the cashiers, but we need to hold ourselves responsible for being the second set of eyes for that cashier so that we can catch these errors when they come through. It's really important and a great way to save yourself some money. Trust me, watch for it. You'll see what I mean. This is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. I really hope this helps. Take care. Have a great day.